Welcome to Magical Moments with Alena Chapman, the place for you to break free from the norm and celebrate your life, because what we believe in our hearts becomes our reality. This is Magical Moments with Alena Chapman.
Welcome to Magical Moments for that ease and betterment in your life. And I'm your host, Alena Chapman. And guess what today is? Dun, dun, dun. It's Ask Alena. Okay, so I love Ask Alena because you know what? I can bring you such top experts and everything else, but I have to say, you guys ask incredible questions, and I'm loving them. I'm loving them. So if you have any questions, anyone out there, you hear this show or you hear any show, feel free to go to soulmanifesto.com, go to the comment page. You know, it's usually on the last page of the website, and just put in your question, and we get them. I'm a stickler for that. I want to know your questions because your questions are important. They're about you, and they're to help your life have that ease and that betterment and that flow. You know, that's what's important. So I want to talk a little bit with our magical nugget. Little bit about a magical nugget. I wanted to talk a little bit about Okay, first let's start. I have a little quote. Here we go. Ready? Nothing can bring you peace but yourself. That's from Ralph Waldo Emerson. I have this hanging up in my office. Nothing can bring you peace but yourself. And you're thinking, yeah, of course, Alena, I understand that. Yeah, well, sure we do. We're conscious about it. And we're thinking, well, some of you are not even saying that. Some of you are saying, yeah, right, Alena. How can I be peaceful when I've got all this going on? All right. You know, we are the master of our ship, the captain of our ship, master of our life. And when we choose to have peace in our life, then we will create the peace in our life. And it is just a matter of making that decision. I want a peaceful life. I want a life of ease and betterment. I want a life of calm. Now, then you take the baby steps forward to create that. How do you create it? Many ways. You know, schedule every day that time to take a walk in nature, to have your sacred space and meditate or dream or journal or just be. Sunday mornings, make that your time to sit with, oh gosh, I love going downstairs before anyone wakes up. I love to get to with just like a tangerine, a piece of toast, and my hot tea, and I put it on my tray, and I bring it upstairs to my bed. And I have this door that opens up to a little balcony in my bedroom. So I open that up so I can hear the birds, and I sit there. I don't turn on social media. I don't read a book. I just be. And it is the most awesome peace and happiness you feel with just being with you. So you create the moments that bring the peace in your life. You are the captain of your ship. So steer that ship into the port of peace. Don't wish for it and then steer your ship into chaos. No. But here's the thing, and this is what I find more and more as my life, really, I work to create that peace more and more. Well, I have that peace. You find that, number one, all of a sudden, you don't even have to worry. You carry the peace inside you. Isn't that cool? You are that calm tree, as James Allen says in As a Man Thinketh, in his Serenity chapter, that you are the calm tree that everyone wants to gravitate to because you have that peace just flowing from you. And number two, even when life gets really chaotic and nuts, you will find the peace within it. I promise you, you will. And then the chaos isn't as chaotic. And when you've had enough, you know it. Peaceful living is very important, especially in these times, because if you don't have it, you get tossed and turned into every little thing that happens during your day. You get tossed and turned to everyone else's little drama. You get tossed and turned to everyone else's little demands. You have to find that peace inside of you and just move it forward into the life you want to live. And this was not meant to be a plug, actually. Actually, it wasn't at all. But I am now starting a 7-day reset to gain that peace in your center core. This was just happened to be lining up. That's coming out right now. And if you're interested, either comment and let me know, or go to Soul Manifesto and it should be popping up for you. It's a 7-day reset to find that inner peace in your life. And you get 7 days of different tools you can apply in your life and focus on. Oh my gosh, by the end of the 7 days, you'll be a pro at it. You'll be creating peace everywhere. But I think that's one of the most important things you can do for yourself. We always talk about loving ourselves, but really it starts with peace. If you can have peace, it just makes the whole world calmer and doable. And then you have the time to work on yourself if you want. Okay, so that's my nugget for today. Now it's time for Ask Alena. I should have like a theme song or something. Dun, 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 dun. Here we go. So we have some really incredible questions. Let's start with the first one. You talk often, she starts right in, or he starts right in. You talk often about creating a sacred space. I'm about to visit my in-laws. How do I find sacred space while being around other people's homes? Your thoughts? This is from Sue in Idaho. Hi, Sue. All right, let's talk about this. So you want to create a sacred space, and I'm sure at home you have it all decked out with candles or whatever, nature, you just do it up and it's your space. Yes, and then you go and travel and you're like, what do I do? I get it, because I used to do a lot of traveling before Corona. And I had to come up with something that would trigger my mind, and I'll repeat that. Trigger my mind that is my new sacred space. And so I got this beautiful shawl that's all embroidered. It's black and it has pinks and blues, and it's just pretty and it cheers me up. And I put that at the end of my bed in my hotel room, in my guest bedroom at someone's house. And then all of a sudden my bed becomes my sacred space. Okay? So that shawl. So how did I do that? I actually put that shawl in my sacred space at home. So it was always associated with the sacred space. Because you can use something, but you have to feel that sacred space. You know what I mean? You got to feel that it's yours. So to do that, take your shawl and put it in to put in your sacred space and sit it there for a little while, as you're doing your meditations, as you're doing your journaling, and this is at home. Then when you pack it in your suitcase and you bring it to your in-laws, you put it on your bed, and your mind says automatically, this is my sacred space. Now, if your in-laws are people who like to have you around constantly, or they do not understand privacy, and believe it or not, there are people who, if you're staying in their home, they just don't always want to give you privacy. I've stayed in those homes before. So what do? You walk. You get out of the house. You walk and you find something. Find a local park. Find a tree somewhere. Find something that means something to you, a view, somewhere where you get a good shot of the clouds. Whatever works for you. It could be a rock, but it's something that brings you peace. And allow yourself to go there and just sit. You don't have to spend all day. You can just spend 10 minutes and to just get yourself centered and breathe in all that wonderful spirit, because spirit's omnipresence. Breathe in that spirit and just feel like yourself. And then when you feel good and you feel centered, and maybe you had an awesome meditation or journey, then you can go back to the house and the in-laws and the dog and the whatever else is there and deal with it in a really positive way. So all because you are away from home doesn't mean you can't take a good piece of home with you. And your sacred space can be extremely, extremely a lifesaver, especially if families are arguing. Going to that sacred space to find yourself again is key. And for those of you who do not know what a sacred space is, you haven't been listening enough. I talk about them all the time. But let's talk about them a little bit more so you know. Sacred space is your space. It is your space to be you. It is a space of dreaming, of meditating, of breathing, of centering, of discovery, of just being. But it's your space that you know that when you step into that space, that no worry, doubt, or fear shall enter here. You say that even. No worry, doubt, or fear shall enter here. And you swish it out of that circle. And when you step into that space, it is your time, free, true freedom, where you can create or be what you want. I have mine. I love candles. In fact, my whole house has candles. When I go to write, I designate a whole room. I have a whole room that is my sacred space. Now, yeah, sometimes the boys walk in and out of it, but that's okay. You know, they know that when I have my candles lit and my music playing and I'm sitting and writing, they know that I'm in my sacred space, even though they can walk through it. But that's my room to write. And it is heavenly. I find that I am more productive, that I feel good. I have the music I love. Oh, come on. My mind is like a creative force then. It is incredible because there's freedom. And if I get a negative thought, I just I clap my hands and I say, no, you are not to be here. This is not your place. Out you go. And I swish those thoughts out. Okay? Your creative space is for you. I think everyone should have a creative space. It makes the day special. It makes your life special. It really does. And don't we deserve a little bit of specialness in our life every day? I think so. So that's a little bit. I love that question. Thank you so much, Sue, because I really, really love the sacred space. I think it's important for all of us. So good luck at your in-laws. And I think you'll do beautifully, especially if you have your sacred space. Let's move on to the second question. We also have one here. We're also doing a live, and I have one here. I'm going to do you find some people come to avoid you because of your positivity and beliefs? That is from Faye. Oh my gosh, Faye, that is an excellent question. Let me say that again. Do you find some people come to avoid you because of your positivity and beliefs? I would love to say no, but the answer is yes. I'll tell you a story. When I first started on this path, I had always stayed. You know, you drop the kids off for school in the morning, and then all the mothers would gather, and we would sit and talk in the hallway. And I'm surprised the school let us do that, but they did. And we would talk for a little bit. But my gosh, it was so negative. And I didn't realize it. I did realize that after it, when I was walking to my car, I felt heavy. I didn't want to do anything. It was a very weird feeling, not like myself, but that was like on a subconscious level. And so every morning I would talk to these women, and every morning I would go back to my car feeling this heaviness. Well, once I started to get more conscious And I started to figure out, I don't want that negativity. And here I'm trying to raise my vibration. I'm doing my gratitudes. I got my morning connection going. I'm listening to the music I want. I'm building this positive world around me. Well, I walk into the school to drop off my boys, and I go into that group, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this is not what I want. So one morning I walked into the school, and I thought, I'm going to bring in some positivity to this group. And I started talking about my wonderful morning or something really good. And I'll tell you what, I'd love to say everybody just said, oh, I love this, Alena. Okay, we're going to change. No, they did not. And I had quite a few of them walk away. Or when they saw me coming that morning, they kind of walked away. That's all right. But guess what? There were other people who like that positivity. Sometimes when we grow, the people like to be with like. You know what I mean? Vibration. Like likes to be with like. If you like flowers and you go join a gardening group, or you like to be around other people who like flowers. Well, the same thing with positivity, and definitely with growth. When you grow inside, then the people that are not growing or don't want to grow, which is fine, that's their decision and your decision, but they don't want to grow. They kind of feel separate from you. They don't relate anymore. Don't feel awful about that, because guess what? There are lots of people who are growing with you or want to grow with you and don't know how. And they see that positive light of yours, and before you know it, they gravitate towards you. I have so many new friends in my life. I have friends all over the world, and all of them love to grow. And you say, well, Alena, how do you get together? Oh my gosh, I talk to them every week. Every week. I have friends from Spain and France and Canada, and some from my hometown here, and some from the East Coast, and some from the West Coast. And I talk to them. They're my friends. And I wouldn't know what to do without them right now. So give yourself, Faye, start to look into groups that have more your thought. Do some comments on groups, because you just came from Facebook. So comment on groups that have more your like thoughts. Join in or start to post things that are really positive in groups that really love that positivity. And you'll find that you'll start to create friends. And I know that Faye is part of Soul Manifesto on Facebook, which all of you are happy to join. I would love to have you. Faye, start putting those posts on there. You'll start getting people I'll start replying. I would love to feed that positivity and any posts that you have. And also artwork, whatever you have that just brings joy to this world. And right now, my gosh, we need that joy. We need that positivity. People are really in a very funny place. This COVID thing's coming back around, and it's not good. And people are like, they're just feeling yuck. They've had enough. So if we can have some positivity out there, yeah, and you'll find your friends. They will come. But I'll tell you one thing, you can't change people. So don't think you can take this person that you used to know as a friend and that they will suddenly become positive because you are. That won't happen. But don't stop your growth. Yeah, that's the most important thing. Keep going, because your growth will bring in so much more, not just people, but opportunities, a whole life of happiness. So keep growing. I commend you on that. So that is for Faye from Facebook. And thank you, Faye. That's an awesome question. I bet you helped a lot of people. Make sure you share this out, because that was a good question. People need to hear that. All right. Now let's go to our third question. Oh, this is a good one. Hi, Alena. I wake up nervous. I don't know why. Maybe COVID. But I'm just determined to turn that around and still have a good day. But I don't know how. Help. That's from Louise. And she didn't say where she's from. But I love that. Okay, so you wake up nervous. Yeah, it could be COVID. I guess my question would be to you, did you have this nervousness before? You know, I know people who wake up with fear and nervousness every morning. I actually did a interview with Elizabeth Gilbert of Eat, Pray, Love, and now City of Girls. Those are her 2 books. And she said that every morning of her life, she wakes up with nervousness and fear. Can you imagine? Maybe a lot of you can. I bet you're out there. So what do? There's many ways. One way, I'll bring up Elizabeth Gilbert's idea, which I liked. She said she talks to her fear. So when she gets up, she talks to it. She says, you know, if she's starting a new book and she's going to be starting that new chapter and that critical mind comes in and that fear comes in, she sits in bed and she says, okay, I realize you're here and yeah, you got a lot of reason, but I'm still going to do this. And I really, really like that you've brought my attention to some details, but I'm going to step forward in this and you can come along with me, but you're to sit on the sideline. Now, isn't that interesting? That may work for you. For me, I love to, when I wake up in the morning, if I do feel nervousness, I always just get very quiet and I go into a meditation and I go up to my universe and I ask God or I ask the guides or angels, whatever, and I just say, okay, what in the name of heaven am I so nervous about? And I'll tell you what, I always get an answer. Usually it's nothing, or maybe it's COVID, or maybe it's something I'm starting. Maybe it's, who knows? But when I find out, then I say, okay, what's the best way for me to deal with this situation? How can I bring my best gifts forward in this day? And how would you suggest I deal with whatever I need to deal with? And that's when I receive an answer for that. I like to call on something bigger than myself. I'm really calling on my higher self. And when I do that, I get the purest, most loving way to deal with whatever idea I want to bring forward, whatever situation I have to deal with any unfounded fear that I'm starting to face. And it's funny, when I bring in that higher self, that higher source into the solution, the problem and the nervousness dissolves. There's no room for it. All of a sudden, it's like it's been infused with love and anything can be solved. Okay, so let me give you something concrete to grab hold of. Okay, well, there's a lot. I have a lot of new things going on in my life where I could infuse that everywhere. But even with what my business is launching new stuff, I've got a new book that's coming out. I want it to be well received. I've spent hours and hours working on this book, and I think it's so good. But come on, I know that some people won't like it. And I was nervous about releasing it because it's written differently. I've written this book totally different. It has more of, you're following my journey, which is personal. Let's face it, it's personal. And, so everybody's out there reading my personal journey. And so when that does create a little bit of fear. Am I going to be accepted? Am I not going to be accepted? But when I sat in my bed and I went up there and I said, okay, I'm really nervous. I'm putting this book out there. I'm a little nervous here. What should I do? And the answer was simple. The ones that can most use it will be the ones who buy it or read it. And everything you have to give, you have given to help them. And it opened me up. I thought, that's right. I did this for them. And all of a sudden, that fear of being judged, which that's what it was, is gone because it doesn't matter. I'm here for the ones who want to live by their soul, want to discover their higher soul, and want to hear it. And everybody else, I don't care what they think. See how it changed everything? And it does it with every part of your life. So if you're having this fear, especially about this COVID, now let's talk about the COVID. Yeah, people have a lot of fear. And I have to say, guys, I can't believe the different responses I see. I see some people saying, well, I don't want to be inconvenienced to have to wear a mask or whatever. I see other people who are scared to leave the house. I see people who are very angry. I see people who are very confused. I see people who are struggling. These are all fears. It's time for us to look at something higher. It's time for us to start to discover in ourselves the answers that bring in more love into the fear that we have, whether that's finding a new job, whether that's dealing with this COVID, whether that's making friends on how we make friends, whatever it is, we got to bring a higher self into it. I hope that helps you with a little bit of nervousness in the morning. So you got 2 ways to deal with it. We have 2 more incredible questions. We're going to be talking about, the ooh la la, somebody wants to fall in love. And then we have another one. We got a nice, wonderful second half. So hope this has helped so far. We'll be right back. You're listening to Magical Moments with Alena Chapman.
Welcome back. You're listening to Magical Moments with Alena Chapman, helping you find ease and betterment with every episode. Download more on your favorite podcast platform. Now, here's Alena.
Welcome back to Magical Moments with Alena Chapman, and it's for that ease and that betterment in your life. And right now we're talking about, the show's all about Ask Alena, so I'm the guest. But really, we have talked about fear. We have talked about that wonderful sacred space, which helps with fear, by the way. But now we're going to move on to this other question. I don't know who this is from. I don't think they left a name, but I love this. It says, "Hi, Alena. I'm ready to fall in love." And she puts 3 exclamation points. She's going for it. "After being single for years after the loss of my partner, I am ready to try again." Good for you. "But I don't want to rush. I always want to make sure the person is spiritually aligned with me. I enjoy meditating, creating this new peaceful life, and I want to bring all this up to my potential partner. How do I do this? I don't want them to think that I'm too much of a flower child." And whoever this is out there, I had to laugh because when I was growing up, my dad used to always call me a flower child. So you actually just kind of pulled at my heartstring with that one. Oh, gosh. All right. So you're ready to fall in love. Ooh, the fun, all that wonderful feeling, and that wonderful person to share your life with. And that is exciting. But I understand, sometimes when we have done so much to create peace and happiness in our life, and we're really okay with our life. I mean, we're okay where we are. We're not lonely, but we want to share our life. And whoever this is, I have to say, by the sound of your letter, it sounds like you're not asking for a better part of you or someone to fix you or any of that nonsense. You actually want to share your life with someone. You're in a really good place. And the first thing I want to say is, my gosh, don't be shy about showing people who you are. It's so important. You don't want to put out a fake you, because this person who you're looking for is going to want to know the real you. And if you're putting out the false you, you're going to draw in the wrong person because you're presenting the wrong person in yourself. You got to be the real you. And if that is peace, if that is just having that meditation practice every day, if that is that you really love the self-help world, or you are very spiritual and you're very much into that spirituality, that has to be set forth. And what's wrong with looking in that line? What's wrong with looking for people who are in line with you? Why are you trying to climb uphill and make that person fit your mold? It's very interesting in this world. I know that everybody's doing online stuff, and I don't know how I feel about that. It's like you're shopping. I don't like shopping anyway. So why would I want to shop for a mate or somebody in my life? It seems so silly. And I just don't. When I shop, I go into a store and give me 15 minutes to 20 minutes at the very most, grocery shopping or anything, because I know what I want. I want to get in and I want to get out. I'm not going to look at every item. I'm not going to compare. I know what I want. I get it and I'm out. So what am I going to do on a site? You know? And that shopping idea, to have to look through everything and then say, oh, yeah, he's got everything great except for this. Am I going to discount that? I don't know. I'm not into it. I love to explore, and I love to discover a person on their own turf. I love to learn about a person. It's the excitement of unfolding that person. It's not an expectation of what I know what I want in my life, but I still want to discover the person. So if you're into online and you got it knacked and you know how to handle that thing and you're okay with that shopping feeling, then go for it. But if you are looking for a person, I would say look in the areas that you're already interested in. You know, if you're not a big football player, then don't go to a football game. You want to go to the meditations. You want to go to the yoga. You want to go to the spiritual growth centers in your city. You want to, whatever hobbies you have, gardening. You want to go where you are, and those people will meet you there. And that's how you meet somebody that's more aligned with you. I also love this wonderful idea I learned from a friend way back. When you want to get someone into your life that fits that flower child that you're becoming, and wave that flag really high, darling. I want to tell you, because being a flower child is not a bad thing. It is a freedom. It's a thinking unconventionally. I'm promoting myself here. It is someone who loves to try new things, doesn't see a lot of limitations. Oh, you should be very happy with that title. But one thing that I really love, my friend said one time way back, she said, okay, make a list. Make a list. And not of blue eyes, blonde hair, muscular thing. No, instead, make a list of some of the core things that you would love in your life. Like maybe you would love someone who loves to learn. Maybe you would love someone who loves to be supportive and caring. And this is the thing. Once you make your list, It's easy to make a list, but this is the clincher right here. And this is what seals the deal. I love this. Then you go back down the list and you work on everything you expect to find in that other person. And you're all saying, what? Yes. So if I put supportive on that list, I go back and I say, okay, today's Monday, I'm supportive. Okay, I got to bring that more into my life. How can I be more supportive to my kids, my mom, my friends? I'm going to really up the ante on this supportive. I'm going to become more supportive because that's what I want in my life. You have to be, remember, like draws like. So you have to be the person that you want to get into your life. And when you do that, then the person that comes into your life will be that person. I've seen it happen over and over and over. All right? So you don't have to worry. My gosh, please don't ever worry, people, that who you are is not going to be accepted, because that's what you're doing. And that's not what this world is about. You want somebody who's going to accept you for the beautiful person that you are. All of you. The person who loves that binging and watching Netflix or something on Sundays or Friday nights. The person who does once in a while feel very chaotic. The person who loves the peace. The person who has her space, the sacred space or his space. You want to have that person who loves all of you. The whole wonderful package. And that goes for male or female. And I'll tell you something else. Do not settle for anything less. And that's big. Don't think he'll appreciate or she'll appreciate me more when she gets to know me. Nonsense. Don't think you can change them. That's not up to you. But just know you deserve someone who loves all of you. Okay. So that should help you to start getting out there. And you know what? I think you'll find that the more you work on that list, the more you'll come to growing within yourself. And isn't that a cool thing to do? Yeah, I love that exercise. I think that's one of the best ways to bring someone into your life. And then just have fun. Have fun. That person who comes into your life will come in when it's time and you're doing what you're doing, and start as a friendship and watch it just unfold. It's very cool. I love it. You're doing it the right way. All right. So, hey, Alena, this new norm is weird. I agree. I was really hoping to see people pull together to fight COVID, and instead I find people fighting each other. Oh, no, that's interesting. How can I bring peace and love into my life with all the others and the comments I see and everything I see on social media? Aha! Yes, I so agree. All right. Yes, this new norm. I get it. I was just talking about that myself. All right, so it is weird. Yeah, I agree with you. It is weird. I see it. I see a lot of tension out there, leeriness. I see it, and I see a lot of frustration. So I guess you were hoping for, it sounds like, pulling together. You wanted community. You wanted people to join together to fight it. Yes, I do too. I'm with you with this. No, we don't have that all. But you know what? It is out there. It's just in smaller groups. And it's going to grow. But this is the thing. If you fill your head with all the stuff you see on social media and the news and, I don't know, all the comments and all the stuff that feeds the anger, feeds the frustration, feeds the conflict, well, then you're going to feel the conflict. You're going to feel the anger. And you're going to think that everybody is pulling apart. Now, I do agree with you that people are scared. I do feel that people are a little leery. I also know that some people, and I think it's a very small few, are angry, feeling their rights have been taken away. So you do have those factors out there, but you also have a lot of people, a lot of people who say, okay, we got to join together and fight this. We got to protect our kids. We got to protect ourselves against this, but we also have to do it in a way that we are still connected. And there are many groups out there like that. So don't get lost into the group that is angry filled, because then you think the world is like that. It really isn't. I know so many people who are pulling together. They're pulling together. They're having, they're having wonderful virtual everything, cocktail parties, puzzle putting together, games. They do it virtually. When they get together physically, but they do the social distancing, but they enjoy each other's company. You'll find also creative ways to bring yourself closer. I know with some of my friends, I'm much more consistent in sending just loving, encouraging notes. I have been calling them more. I feel like I'm connecting more with them than I did when I was so busy and everything got lost. So this is the thing. Community and pulling together starts at a grassroots effort with all of us. And that's with any kind of big change you want. You want community, you got to start at the grassroots. So what can you do in your own backyard to form that incredible community? What can you do to bring people together? And, by the way, turn off the social media for a little while. Turn off the news. Turn off anything that's going to give you the opposite of what you want to achieve. You do that with any kind of idea you have. So if you want to form community, why listen to something that's going to separate community or add stress? Turn it off. And instead, reach out to friends around you. See if you can do a virtual potluck or something, or get together and do the social distancing. It all depends on where you live and what you're allowed to do. But I know I'm meeting up with friends at different locations. We're just careful. We're just careful. And we use our masks and everything else. But I'll tell you what, it doesn't stop the conversation, and it doesn't stop the fun, and it doesn't stop our closeness. So, this new norm, we're still in a new norm. And for every single person, it's a different kind of norm. So I think your service in forming a community is very important. I think people have a lot of questions. I think you could do a world of good in your own circle, in your own neighborhood, by starting this. And I want to encourage everyone to take the initiative to build that community wherever they are. Because it's very, very important. And I think how we act during this whole crisis is going to determine how we come out of it. So you asked a good question, and I think you're on to something. You just needed a little direction. I hope that helped you. I hope that helps you get that direction and really start to form that community. Yeah, it's so funny. We are being fed a lot of confusing things every day. Every day. I've turned it off. And you know what I think is so funny, just on a side note? It seems like when I turn off the news and I turn off the Facebook alerts on all these news things, I still find out what's going on. I don't know how, but somehow I always find out what's going on. So you don't need to watch the news to get your news. All right. Now, I have another question. Okay, and for everyone who is on Facebook who is watching, because this is also live, if you have questions, this is the time to ask. Oh, this one, guys. I've lost 3 dear people to COVID. Oh, God. My heart is breaking. There's too much loss. How do I heal? It just hurts so much. Oh, God. I get it. I really do. I have lost people too. I lost a good friend just 2 nights ago. I do get it. And when I haven't lost 3, but who knows? But I do get where you're feeling. I understand that hurt and that grief. And grief is a funny animal. It is it's a very personal animal. It's you. And so to put, oh, you're going to be over it in this time, no, there's no such thing. But I will tell you, as you're grieving, step into, this is what I found helps the most. When you're grieving, step into pulling up spirituality or spiritual thoughts, whether that's religious-based, modality-based, whatever it is to you. Get on YouTube and pull up those kinds of sites and listen. Pull out the books and read. There's Troward, there's Neville, there's myself, there's a ton of different spiritual people you can pull up, and maybe all of them. Then just read. It doesn't matter what you're reading. It's to build a bigger meaning to the questions that are going to start coming to you, like, why did this happen? And why this person? And why am I left? Start searching out all these. You'll start finding answers, and you'll start building that spiritual strength. You could end up coming out of this grief with so much more belief and faith than you ever had when you started. And also, it'll give you a sense for where these wonderful people in your life, where they have gone. Energy doesn't die. It can't. So, we do go on. And it's in your own spirituality and your growth that you determine what sounds right to you. And that's what's important. Yeah, it's very important. Grief is an interesting animal. And then, always feel free to talk to them. They hear you. Talk to them. And you'll see signs. Keep your eyes open. You'll see signs, especially within 3 to 5 days. You'll start seeing signs. And yes, those are signs. Accept them and be grateful. All right? Energy doesn't die. They're probably right around you. And most of all, build that spiritualness inside yourself. It will give you great ease and a greater belief. It's important. It's really important. We should be doing that anyway, guys. Well, that's why I do what I do. Because really, the magic in this life is not always everything we see. It's in the things we don't see. And how do we open to it? That's what I teach. And that's what gave me the strength to overcome challenges that were almost insurmountable. And that's what gave me the strength to be myself, to accept myself. So it serves many, 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 many purposes. And it really does help you grow. So those are the questions I have for Ask Alena. I want to go back and just talk to you a little bit about the piece. Every single question here has been, when our boat gets off course, remember I said we're the captain of the boat, and our boat gets off course, it's like I really do see my boat, my personal boat, which is a beautiful, giant, old-fashioned ship. Just so, in case you wanted to know. Everything's old-fashioned for some reason. I'll have to look at the psychosis of that someday when I'm old. But anyway, this boat comes down. It's going down this river canal. All right? And I see the open water ahead, and I see where I want to go. This is my whole life. And once in a while, my boat kind of sways over to this little dock or these rocks. Maybe there was a storm or a wind that gushed me over. And I'm in these rocks. That's the challenges in my life. Those are the little obstacles I have to get over. But my boat doesn't have to stay there. I don't have to stay there. And what my job is to find the best way to get out of those rocks. So if it's grief, how do I deal with this grief where I grow and my boat can go on, where I can feel the real presence of spirit? That's what I'm going to do. If I'm stuck in here with the COVID and no community, all right, I'm in these rocks of COVID and no community. How can I move past these rocks? What's the best creative way that I can go? I do not have to stay in the rocks. I can move my boat out of those rocks. It's just, how do I want to do it? So all these questions are, your ships are kind of going into some rocks. All right? Now you've gotten some, you've found some tools from this show to start moving out of that. And then as you're moving out of that, you'll develop inside yourself because you have the seed of greatness inside of you. So tap in. Now that you have the tools, now tap in and say, okay, what else can I do? And you have it in you, especially if you're feeding yourself good things. That makes the seed grow. And so you say, okay, you know what? Alena, I like what you said. I'm going to do this even more. I'm going to add this to it. And you start moving that boat even more out of the rocks. And before you know it, your boat is right on course. You're feeling the flow, you're feeling the ease, and you're feeling where you're going to that open sea, to where you want to be. But it takes you. It takes you to learn what you need to learn and step out of that challenge. I love that image, and why I'm sharing it with you is because it shows that nothing is permanent. Sometimes when we are in a situation, it can overcome us. And we fill our minds with chaos with it. I've seen it. I'll use my example in my home even. I've seen there's been so many people in my home because of my mother, nurses and this and that. And I hear the way they talk, and it's like this chaos, and drama. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, breathe. You don't need to stay in those rocks. Don't give it so much energy. Think of the solution. Take time to breathe. Settle yourself down. Center yourself. Listen to things that are going to feed the goodness. Give you a sense of direction and hope that this reality does not have to stay this reality. These rocks I don't have to stay in. And find the time to get into the sacred space. Find the time to make peace in your life. And before you know it, you'll start to hear spirit come in and tell you exactly how to get out of those rocks, how to set you right on course again. And you owe it to yourself to do this. You really owe yourself. So, I've had a wonderful, wonderful time answering your questions. And I think all of you, you know what? I think my listeners are the most intelligent, smartest people in the whole wide world. I want to tell you that. So thank you. Thank you for sharing with me. Thank you for trusting me to help you. Take a look at Soul Manifesto. We've got some really cool things. And definitely take a look at that 7-day free challenge to find your inner core. My gosh, that's the best gift you can give yourself right now. And always remember, love is spirit and spirit is love. And that is the answer, folks. Namaste, and I love you all. This is Magical Moments. Bye-bye now.
This has been Magical Moments with Alena, featuring Alena Chapman. If you missed an episode, download it now on iTunes, Spotify, TuneIn, CastBox, Deezer, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, or your favorite podcast platform. Learn more online at soulmanifesto.com.
Podcasts by Federated Media.